change is coming to eBay. That's right, things are changing on eBay and you may be at risk at losing out on some money on your sales unless you adjust your settings. I'll talk about what that change is and how you can opt out if you want to, but I'll also talk about why you may not want to opt out, so stick around. First, let's jump into some viewer questions. Jackie asks, I'm very new to selling, less than 90 days. I've noticed 0 views but have watchers for the item. Wouldn't a watcher first be a viewer? Very good question. I've wondered this myself in the past, and here's the deal. You don't have to actually look at a listing, view a listing to be able to watch it. If you look through the eBay app, you'll notice a little heart icon above the image when you do a search. And so you can actually hit that heart icon without actually viewing the listing. So when you have an item that has 0 views, but 1 watcher or 2 watchers, that means somebody is hitting that heart button without actually opening up the listing. Kind of weird, but that's what's going on. Rhonda asks, could you share how you do your graphs on your videos? Sure, Rhonda. Those graphs come from Flipwise, which is software that I co-developed with a friend of mine that helps you manage your inventory and sales data from eBay in an automated way. Flipwise is actually out of beta and open for business, so if you're interested in signing up, you can do so now. Let's actually jump into that right now. We're going to talk about my top 10 sales. I'll be answering more questions from viewers sprinkled throughout these top 10 sales, including this big change coming from eBay, so stick around. But first, let's look at my sales for the week. Looks like for the last 7 days, I've had a gross income of $1,054 and a net income of $635. So if y'all remember last week, I had about a $900 net, so I'm about $300 less than I did this week. So eBay's been a little bit slower than it was last week. How's it been for y'all? I know April can be kind of a slow month, but it's been okay for me. Hit or miss, it's kind of up and down, which can be kind of annoying. Had a 772% ROI on the last 7 days and a 55% net profit margin. Over the last few months, my net profit margin has been in the high 40s and low 50s, so it's nice to see that increase. My net profit margin's increasing because I'm sourcing inventory from places that charge less, like garage sales, for example. So with garage sale season coming back, I expect my net profit margin to continue to go up. When garage sale season is out, my net profit margin goes down because I'm sourcing inventory at more expensive places like thrift stores. Scrolling down here, looks like this week I had 45 new listings, which is not bad, but only 24 sales. And so if y'all watch the channel, you'll know that I typically sell about 1-to-1. So as many things as I list, I sell in a given week. That doesn't mean everything that I list in a week, I sell that same week, but I have a pretty big backlog of inventory. I have a little over 1,000 items in stock, and I just know my data really well. I just know on a normal week, if I list 45 things, I'm going to sell about 45 things. So this was not a very good week on eBay. You can see here, my average time to sell was 4 months. That just means the inventory that I sold over the past week on average was about 4 months old between listing and selling. And I spent a total of $141 on new inventory in the past week. Coming in at number 10 is this 1960s wide bottom carafe. This is one that my wife found at a St. Vincent de Paul for $4. A pretty cool piece, something I just would have never picked up. And that's why I like going out and sourcing with my wife, is she has knowledge on things that I just have no idea. And I would have never looked at this. I would have never picked it up. I don't think I would have ever bought it, but she did. That's great. We sold it for $34.98. That's $24.99 plus $9.99. Only took 3 weeks to sell, and a net return for the 10th best flip of $17.01. We paid $4 on that one. That's the 10th best flip of the week. Coming in at number 9 is this Cuisinart food processor replacement bowl. Y'all, you should be buying these anytime you see them at thrift stores or garage sales or flea markets. Cuisinart food processors, even if you can't test them, because it doesn't even matter. You can part them all out into different pieces and make a ton of money on them, even if they don't work. And in fact, you will make more money parting them out than you would if you sold them as an entire unit. This thing was listed for 1 day. It sold for $34.98. That's a net return of $18.92. A 631% ROI. And that's just one piece off of this entire unit that had 4 or 5 different pieces on it. So this made $18. I'm going to sell 4 or 5 more for at least $18 to $25 net profit and probably get close to $100 on what was, I think, an $8 total purchase for the entire unit. And I'm not even selling the base motor at all. I'm just selling the replacement pieces. So pick these up when you see them, part them out. They sell quickly, and it also keeps things out of the landfill. So if I can help somebody not throw away their Cuisinart mixer because something is broken by offering a replacement piece like this, it not only gets money into my pocket, pocket, but keeps their unit out of a landfill in the future. So next question, do you restrict where you ship to? I have shipped stuff to Puerto Rico, Guam, and rural Alaska, but I do buyer paid because some of those were insane prices. That's right. You can get caught shipping things to crazy places like Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Guam. If you're offering free shipping on your items, you can really get burned in that scenario. And so I do offer free shipping on a lot of my stuff, not everything. And in fact, I'm moving away from doing free shipping on a lot of my items, and I'm starting to do more and more paid shipping. But when I do free shipping, I do use business policies and I exclude certain locations from that. And they are the locations that you mentioned there. So I basically include only the lower 48. So I exclude Alaska, I exclude Hawaii, I exclude Puerto Rico, some of the territories like Guam, and I also exclude PO boxes because the challenge with PO boxes, especially for large items, for items that are over a cubic foot, so 12 by 12 by 12, are generally going to be more expensive to ship through the post office, and you want to ship them through FedEx or UPS, and you cannot ship to a PO box using FedEx or UPS. And so I also restrict PO boxes as well. Coming in at number 8 is this American Girl Truly Me doll from 2008. We got this at an estate sale. If y'all have watched previous videos, you know I went to a really weird estate sale that was in a big warehouse that was a moving company that was selling the contents of their moving truck for someone that never paid. This was in a box. We got about 4 or 5 different American Girl dolls from this same place. This one has a $3 cost of goods. It took 22 days to sell for $41.98 on the 8th best flip of the week. The net return on this one was $24.57, 819% ROI. American Girl dolls are really good to look out for. If you can't identify them, try picking up the hair on the back and looking at the back of the neck. That's typically where it's going to say American Girl. And then you can also check the labels on the inside, which will help you date it and identify it. There's a bunch of websites that can help you do that. I'm not an expert. I just Google it when we get them and figure it out that way. Coming in at number 7 is this vintage Nabisco saltine cracker tin. And so we've had this one for a long time, 11 months. This was a nice sale to get because I obviously just completely forgot that I had it. Wasn't really expecting to make any money on it, but it sold for $44.98. I'm just really surprised that somebody wants this thing for almost $50. It's from 1969. It's a cool piece for sure, but I don't know. That's a pretty high price. I don't even remember pricing. I mean, I'm sure I checked comps and I'm sure it's priced accurately. It did take forever to sell, so who knows. Either way, 7th best flip, $30.05 on the net return. Purchase price was $1. I don't even remember where we got it. It says Facebook Marketplace. It came in a bunch of different stuff. I don't even remember. The Ozarks Picker asks, in your opinion, what is the best day to send an offer to someone who is looking to buy? So the best day is any day, really. So I don't think that there's a best day necessarily, but timing does matter when you're sending offers. Typically, you want to send an offer as quickly as you can after somebody watches an item because you want to capture their interest when they are thinking about buying. So if somebody watches an item and you send an offer 2 weeks later, chances are they're not going to care about that offer and probably are not going to take it up. If you make a habit of checking to see who you can send best offers to, which you can do from your seller hub when you look at your list of all active listings, on the top it'll say send offers on these items. If you can catch them really quickly, you're going to increase your chances of someone accepting that offer because you're capturing their interest with a lower price when they are actively searching for that item versus way later. So any day goes, but try to get it as quickly as possible after they actually watch the item. Coming in at number 6 is this vintage sundial. I got this one at a St. Vincent de Paul for $8. It sold in 4 months for $56.98, if you can believe that. The net return on that for the 6th best flip was $30.28. Made in USA. I think that's what tipped it off that it might be worth some good money, is that right on the front it said made in USA. Typically things that are made in USA and look vintage or have a date on it that puts it in the category of being vintage, which I don't know if there's an actual definition of what vintage means. I consider something vintage if it's 20 years or older. So if something was 2003 here in 2024, I would say that is a vintage item. If it's 2007, I would not say it's a vintage item. I don't know if that's a true rule or not, but that's the one I follow. Let me know what y'all think. Do you consider something vintage after a certain point? 20 years, 30 years? Either way, like I said, $56.98, $30.28 for that 6th best flip of the week. This made in USA Whitehall Butterfly Sundial. Coming in at number 5 is this Reebok St. Louis Blues hockey jersey. So this I got on an estate sale, only $2 on it, if you can believe that. It took 8 days to sell for $56.98. That's $49.99 plus $6.99 in shipping. The net return on this one for the 5th best flip of the week was $38.76. Just a really good find. So these Reebok NHL jerseys can do really, really well. This one you could just tell is very high quality, very thick material. You could just tell it was a very nice one. And And this one, this one sold very quickly in 8 days. And so anytime I see hockey jerseys like this, especially if they're priced as low as $2, always pick them up, and I would encourage you to do the same. Next question here is from Red Shift. I've heard you say that your wife does shipping and you source. Who takes the photos and lists, and who looks at comps to determine prices? So yeah, my wife and I, we share this business. We work on it together. She does do 100% of the shipping unless she is sick or something, then I'll jump in there and do the shipping. But she does the vast majority of the shipping, and she's just really good at it. She likes to do it. She's weird like that. I don't mind. I don't really like shipping, and so it's a great trade-off there. But she also comes out and sources with me as well. She also lists as well too. And so she kind of does everything plus the shipping, and I do everything but the shipping. And so that's just how it works out. So she looks at comps to determine prices and all that. And typically the stuff that she sources, she lists. The stuff that I source, I list, because typically we're sourcing things that we know the most about. And so she buys a lot of things that I just don't know a whole lot about. And so if I were to do the listing for that, it would take me more time to do the research and pricing. But since she knows that stuff, she can do the research and pricing pretty quickly. And same goes for my type of thing that I buy and she doesn't. So I buy a lot of electronics and she doesn't buy a whole lot of electronics. And so it works out pretty well. We share duties across everything, and then she does basically all of the shipping. Coming in at number 4 is this Dymo digital USB postal scale. There's actually 2 of them, and I remember buying these, and I sort of regretted buying them almost immediately after I did. I got them at a St. Vincent de Paul. They were $25 each, which is a very steep price. But they were new in the box, had never been used, and I remember when I found them, I was really going back and forth on whether I should buy them or not. At $25 a piece, I knew that they would sell eventually, but they were going to take a long time. The sell-through rate was horrible. I went ahead and did it. I guess I'm glad I did. I don't know that I would buy them again, though. 4 months to sell. The same person bought 2 of them, which was great. $119.98 for 2 of them. My net return for the 4th best flip was $46.49. That's a 93% ROI. That's just because that purchase price was so high. So Dymo's a good brand. I use their label printer every day. I have a Dymo 4XL. It's a really great label printer. I have a link to that down below in the description. If you're looking to upgrade anything in your reselling tool set, a label printer is amazing. It doesn't use any ink, so it never runs out of ink, and it's just a really great investment. I love my 4XL. Definitely recommend it. Although sometimes the link that I have down below, the price can be really high on Amazon. I don't know why they're priced so high on Amazon. You might want to look elsewhere. Anyway, what was this? 4th best flip of the week, $119.98, $46.49 to go on that one. All right, coming in at number 3 was this new sealed external 3 terabyte hard drive. This thing took a long time to sell. I'm not really sure why. I paid $10 for it back in August. 8 months to sell for $89.99. Net return of $65 even, and an ROI of 650%. Kind of a funny story on this sale. Right when I got the notification that this thing sold, I got another notification from the buyer about a minute later. Typically that means, oops, I made a mistake. My kid bought it. Some excuse made that they want to cancel the order. That's what I figured it was. But I opened up messages and I saw this. So keep in mind, this is directly after the person bought it. And they sent me a message saying, I think I paid a bit too much for this. If you can send me any partial refund, would be much appreciated. I am not rich. That came in after they bought the item. And so, sometimes you'll get that, you very regularly will get those types of messages before they buy it, trying to get a partial discount, even if you don't accept best offers. I've never had this happen after they actually purchased it. So I replied, I said, would you like me to cancel your order? I do not offer partial refunds. Sorry. They replied, no, I'll accept the order, but if you change your mind about a small refund, you can send. Sorry, buddy. I'm not going to send you a small refund, but all signals are pointing that this is probably going to get returned or something. I just don't feel good about this sale, but we'll see. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I get that you're not rich, but maybe you shouldn't be buying a 3 terabyte external hard drive then. I don't know. Pretty weird. Anyway, that was the 3rd best flip. $90, $65 net return. Pretty good sale. But hope it doesn't get returned. All right, next question. BK415B asks, what's the deal with eBay's calculated shipping changes? Should I opt out or not? So this viewer is asking about these big changes that eBay is making around calculated shipping. And so what's going on is, historically, when you list something and use calculated shipping, you are given a discount by buying your shipping labels through eBay. And it's a really healthy discount. And so if you're selling stuff and you're going to the post office and buying your shipping labels there, you're paying about 40% more than you would if you bought them on eBay. So you always want to buy your shipping labels through eBay or through a third-party shipping provider like Pirate Ship. And so you would get that discount as a seller when something sells and you buy the label. But When you do calculated shipping, the price that's advertised to the buyer does not include that discount. So if a buyer paid $15 in calculated shipping and you went to buy the label and it only cost you $11, you got to keep that $4 difference as additional profit, which is pretty nice. But the change that eBay is making is they are passing along the shipping cost savings to the buyer. And so the buyer is going to get quoted the exact same price that you would as a seller to ship the item. So that means you're not going to make that extra bit of profit due to the difference between the shipping costs between what the buyer is quoted and what you're quoted as a seller. So this change is happening on May 15th, 2024. So here in about 3 weeks from the recording of this video right now, 2 weeks, I don't even know, 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks sounds right. So as a seller, you can opt out of this though. You don't have to agree to do it. And I'll put a link in the description below where you can click and you can go ahead and opt out. But this is really not going to affect me personally because I don't use calculated shipping, or very rarely do I use calculated shipping. And a big reason that I don't use calculated shipping is because the price quoted to buyers is often very high. And I think that's detrimental to getting sales. I always use flat rate shipping, not flat rate boxes. I don't use those. Those are not a very good deal. But I have business policies and I've defined several levels of flat rate shipping costs. So I have a $6.99 shipping price, I have a $9.99 shipping price, a $14.99 shipping price, a $24.99 shipping price. And so when I'm listing something, I just select the business policy that's closest to what I think that the item I'm selling is going to fall under. And I do that not to save money or to make money, but I do that to simplify the listing process and make it much easier and faster for me to list. And so I've been doing this a long time. I can just sort of eyeball an item and understand how much it's going to cost to ship. And I will select the appropriate business policy based on how much that will ship to the furthest location from where I'm at, which is typically Oregon or Washington State. And so I never really use calculated shipping at all because I think that I got less sales when I did it because other sellers that were not using calculated shipping would have lower prices. Sometimes buyers looking at your item with a calculated shipping on it will see just astronomical shipping prices, and that's a huge turnoff. I would actually encourage you to consider not opting out of this option and passing on those savings to the buyer for the shipping labels, because I think it will actually increase the amount that you will sell, even though you might make a little bit less money on each sale because you're not getting that difference between what it cost you to ship and what the buyer was charged. But I'll leave it up to you. I'll give you a link in the description below where you can opt out of that if you want, and let me know how it goes. We'll see. Coming in at number 2 is this Black & Decker Space Maker can opener. I just bought this past weekend for $10 at a garage sale. It took 1 day to sell for $126.98. That's a net return of $90.37. It was definitely my best find of the weekend. I actually got 2 of these, not a Black & Decker one, but I got another Presto brand Space Saver, similar model to this that only sells for about $60 or $70, also new in the box from the same garage sale. But this was just an excellent thing to find. Not everyone is going to know that these things have value, but they do. The Space Maker models in general, they make a whole bunch of things that you can put up underneath your cabinet, and they just don't make them anymore. And so people like these things. They can't go to a store to buy them new. Often when you're buying them used, you don't know what the condition is going to be or what their lifespan is going to be. And so finding these new in the box, often vintage kitchen equipment like this that's new in the packaging, is just going to do really well for those reasons. And this one was no different. Super exciting. $126.98 for the second best flip of the week. Who would have thought? $126 for a can opener. Pretty awesome. That leaves us with number 1, this Idea Mountain Journey System travel bag. So I got this one from a friend, so I had $0 into it, but it did take 2 months to sell for $159.98. Idea Mountain is just a small luxury brand of travel bags. My net return on it was $130.34 for the best flip of the week. Really great piece here. You know, I wish I had a better story, like I bought it somewhere and found it, but I didn't. It was given to me. Let's take a look at those numbers again. For the week, $1,072 in gross income and $648 in net income. Not bad, but I wish it were better. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you missed last week's episode, click here to watch it now. If you like these videos, I do them every week, so hit that subscribe button and join me next Monday. Thanks, and see you soon.